Hey everybody, it's Breacher, and over the last few videos I've seen massive conflicting information about the artifact weapons and the power gains and how does it work. Some people believe it's pretty fast, some people believe it's very slow. Either way, we're going to jump into it today. Why? This is one of the biggest new systems in Legion. If hell, we're only getting one weapon throughout the course of the expansion. Of course it's a big system. And Blizzard wasn't exactly sure how it was going to work. So what does that mean? It's changed loads of time. Even stuff that I saw posted just 9 days ago is out of date now. We've had videos go up that have been out of date within an hour of them going up, right? That's just the nature of the beast when dealing with this kind of content. So what we'll do is an FAQ of exactly how they work today. We're very close to the release, but it could change, and I'll probably post something. If it does change again, we will let it know. All right, guys? So let's go.
So once you get the initial fluff out of the way, Legion, you're going to choose your artifact weapon. People really underestimate how important the artifacts are. Some characters, believe it or not, and this is proven, are about 70% less effective until you flesh out your artifact. Then look at the passives. Just read some of them. Some of your spells are like 50% damage until you get the perks to them. They're really important. The whole idea of the artifact system is simple. You have progress, character progress to do outside of raiding and battlegrounds. Yay! Remember it was Draenor. People were like, there's nothing for me to do. All I can do is farm gear in fucking Tanaan jungle. This sucks. So the artifact power system is a way of logging in and having always something to do. And the good thing is you can do anything you want in the game and it will reward artifact power in some form. So how do they work? Well, they have a vanilla talent tree style. We're going back in time. It goes against their entire philosophy and mop that we covered in the past, but still, that might be a good thing. And they also have 3 relic slots. One of the slots is locked off until you do your class hall campaign, which was part of the leveling video. I was telling you to get started on that early for this very reason. And the 2 slots are open, and this is how they work out your item level. Yay! So basically, as you're doing questing and it all scales around what your current level is, you'll eventually start picking up relics that you literally just stick into the item, and the relics increase the item level of the weapons, and they also give you a free bonus perk. So although most perks in the talent tree go up to a maximum of 3 out of 3, they'll give you an extra one, so you can get 4 in certain ones. So it's quite cool. So raiding and stuff will get higher relic slots, and PvP endgame will get higher relic amounts, so their weapons are slightly higher item level. That's how you're going to differentiate those things. At level 102 then you get the ability to unlock all your artifact weapons. Nice and easy. And then we actually start investing. Well, you'll probably do it before that, honestly. AP gain. So there's some confusion about this in my previous video. AP gain is done nearly entirely through consumable items. You will get items and you get them from doing pretty much anything. You do a random dungeon with a group, you'll get a little token. A boss might drop a token, you'll get tokens for finishing big quest lines, you'll get tokens for looting little world chests, you'll get tokens for killing rares, you'll get tokens for everything, and they vary in power from like 1,000 once you start hitting Suramar and stuff down to like 25 or so. And these go in your bags. Now, this is the important stuff. Once you click on them and use them, the whatever artifact weapon you currently have equipped will gain that power, and that is locked. That's it. It's in there. I'm sure they will think of a way of swapping it out, or maybe they won't. But at the moment, once you've invested or spent your item on your artifact weapon, that weapon has that power from now until the end of time as the game currently stands. What you can do is respec your artifact. So if you go down a path to get one of the major golden dragon perks and you've gone the wrong way, you can respec it, but at a cost. It's like 1,000 artifact power to get started with. Whew, it's not cheap, but you can't move artifact power out of one into another weapon. Okay, so having said that, Blizzard has said that you can keep your off-spec artifacts at like 80% power of your main one. Yes, so this is due to the exponential leveling cost of the perk. So every time you buy a perk in your artifact weapon, the next one will cost more artifact power, and it keeps going and going, and then it takes big leaps. So it jumps from like 650 to about 6,000. Some of them go up differently. They keep changing it. This is going to be a big theme later on, is they keep changing it. So trying to like put specific numbers into it right now is a big waste of time. So it just jumps and jumps, and it gets exponentially more expensive as you go up. It will get to the point where buying one little perk that could be something as useless as like 3% melee damage taken reduction for a caster, something stupid like that, will cost you so much artifact power that you could get several points in your less progressed artifact of your off-spec. That's what they're talking about there. It becomes so expensive that you could actually buy several points in a different weapon, or you could get that one perk. Well, that of course means, as you can probably realize already, is that ultimately you will catch up. They'll both just be stupidly expensive. My advice is, as long as your raiding spec looks pretty decent, if you are a raider or you're happy with your spec, is just stick to your main artifacts and try and bash that out of the way. Although there is some math going on, but we'll get that later on. Don't worry about it. So that's how it works. Okay, now then, this next section I'm going to talk about is probably one of the stupidest decisions I've ever made on my channel, because I know there are loads of guys out there who want to have accurate information for this. Unfortunately, it is changing so often, and honestly, the details of this don't matter. They really do not matter. Just take a breath and relax before you start blade storming in the comment section. This stuff that I'm about to talk about, the numbers of it don't matter at all. It's not going to change, and I say it doesn't matter because it will not change how we do it. It doesn't change at all, regardless. Okay? So, research missions. Once you hit level 110, you will get access to work orders, exactly the same as the work orders in Walls of Draenor garrisons. These work orders, you can do 2 at a time, will give you research notes. Now, there's currently a cap of doing this 25 times, and this will also unlock you skins and some story mode for your artifact, for your lore heads out there. You'll get all that kind of stuff. But importantly for us who are into the sort of raiding and stuff like that, is that every time you get a research note, you increase the amount of artifact power you get from the items. Now, I'm not going to talk about numbers, and I'll tell you why. It's changed so often, to the point where in Alpha I've had my artifacts reset so many times. Now currently it stands at like 25-50%, but it doesn't matter what it eventually is on live, right? All you need to know is that this is a combination of a catch-up system and to keep you interested in doing this without the numbers getting obscene. That's all it's for. That's literally the whole purpose of it. Ultimately, if you keep going and keep going with your research notes, the multiplier of your artifact power will end up in the massives of thousands. Yeah? It's like 20,000, I think, currently it can get to. It's ludicrous. Ludicrous. Now, I know many of you are thinking, I'll tell you what, Preacher, I'm going to bank all mine and then wait till I've got a couple of research notes in the bag, which is like a 50% increase or whatever the fuck, and then I'm going to smash them all out. Nope. Blizzard's thought of that. They're not silly. What actually happens is anything you currently have in your bags, any items you've already looted, will not benefit from a research note if you get that research note after you looted those items. Sorry, spoilers. I know, big bummerino, but they don't want you banking them. That's not how it's supposed to work. Instead, what actually happens is once you have a research note or several research notes or whatever, the items that you will loot will actually be different items that'll have a higher artifact power value to them. So ultimately, you'll have items that like maybe give 50 artifact power that will give like 5,000-10,000 further down the expansion. But it doesn't change. Doesn't matter what the numbers are. It's just criminally important to this conversation. Doesn't matter. It won't change the fact that, as I said in the leveling video, you will get them started immediately. A lot of people have had contentions about how long it takes to cap them. We're not 100% sure. I'll tell you why. If you go to some websites, which I browsed them all today while talking to my friends because I was like, is there a real answer to this? And people are like, not really. If you go to some websites, their guides will tell you that your first mission will take 1 day, and then 3 days, and then 5 days, and go from there. And then it will stay at 5 days. If you keep your research missions ticking, they will always be 5 days. You'll go to other websites that tell you it starts at 5 days, and then it gets shorter as the more research you investigate into, blah, 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 blah. Big convoluted answer. The answer is, it just keeps changing. Right now, what I can tell you is of right now, from actually playing the game, this is the important thing, from playing the game, the Shadow Priest that I capped yesterday has a time played of 5 minutes. His first work order is 5 days. Okay? That's as it is right now. My warrior, who has done several research missions and has been AFK for a few weeks because I haven't needed to play it, besides playing my tank today, is still at 5 days. Now, I mentioned being AFK, and I mentioned catch-up systems and all that stuff. So let me just reiterate for now. Whatever the day period is, once we actually get into live Legion, because this is still in beta and it can still change after this video. Doesn't matter what it is right now, and I can tell you what it is right now, but it doesn't matter. It won't change the fact that we'll get started on our research missions and keep them ticking, because they're crucially important. They're really important. You need to just keep them ticking over. They're more important than other stuff. Okay? That's all you really need to know. What we can say is this catch-up system is designed to work something like this. There is a calculation going on within Legion where if you start the game late or you have an alt, the game will, or the system will assess how long has Legion been out, what are the artifact gains of the furthest progressed players on the server, how good is everything else going on, and then it will work out how long your research mission should be. Over the course of the alpha and the beta, we've seen them change from 5 days to 1 day to 3 days, and it's all about being able to let people catch up. That's all it's for, okay? That is all it is for, is if you make a character further down further into the expansion, it doesn't matter if everybody else has like capped their artifacts. It's irrelevant because you will get really fast research missions and you'll get massive artifact power gains. Yeah, they're going to speed you through that process. The idea is those of us who pick it up on day one, yes, it will be a pretty long process. We don't know exactly how long it's going to be because you can just farm a shitload of artifact power. It will just take us a little while. It's something to keep you interested in the content. It's to elongate the content. That's what it's for. It's what people were asking for. And frankly, it's not a terrible system. It's a grind, yes, but it's a grind of doing content you hopefully enjoy because you enjoy this game. That's the plan behind it. It's like, well, they like WoW, right? Let's just give them a reason to keep playing. That's all it's for. I know I always, and I hate doing this, is giving you specifics. I love to give you guys specifics. That's usually why you come to me. But honestly, this subject, I mean, if you look at, I think even Wowhead actually had to update their article on this today. Like, I'm filming this on the 9th. They had to update it today because it just changed again. So if you ask some people, they'll say, no, Preacher, you're a dick. It's 1 day. Well, it's not. Honestly, it isn't. If you log in right now, it's not. Now, that could be a bug. It could be that they've frozen it on beta. Who the fuck knows? And honestly, and I'm being genuinely serious when I say this, I'm not being facetious. Who cares? Is it going to change whether or not we do the research missions at the start of the expansion? No, we're going to get them started and get them working. Some people have said, could we cheese the system? In theory, yes, you could. Because, as I just said, if you loot items, you loot artifact power items, they will be lower than when your research mission completes, right? So what you could theoretically do is do the bare minimum in somewhere like Suramar. So you unlock the Court of Stars and the Archway and the Mythic Dungeons and stuff like that. And then kind of hold back, particularly if you've got something like your research mission will finish in like a day or something like that. And then spend a few hours going absolutely hamburglers on Suramar and getting shitloads of much stronger artifact power. You could do that. You could do that. What we haven't worked out yet, and I've been talking to so many fucking people today about this, is that faster than just flat out grinding the shit out of it? And I'm talking mainly to the guys who are really top end here. Is it faster? 25% each time, getting exponentially larger. At some point, yeah, it will be, right? I mean, at some point it will be. You're not going to be able to do that with the content you have to do. So your mythics and your dungeons and your raids and your dailies and all that kind of stuff. You're not really going to be able to dodge that, but that's regenerable content, right? It regens. So with something like Suramar, yeah, theoretically you could do that. And it's certainly on my radar as maybe do the bare minimum until you get a couple of research notes and then kind of go ham on it. But could I have just farmed more in the meantime? Something will work out closer to the time. For everyone else, though, that's just how your artifact weapon works, and it should work. So some things that will probably change are almost guaranteed to change. They'll probably do some bonus events and stuff. They have all this leeway of messing with the system. This 5-day window that they've generated as its maximum, the maximum is 5 days, means they can manipulate that to incentivize you to do various content. They will lift the cap at some point from 25 to something else, so your alts can catch up super, super fast. But at the very beginning, and this is what's important, what a lot of people keep getting hung up and say, it's not going to be that bad, Preach, because your research missions. This won't really be something that you can super speed through until like later in the expansion. For those of us on day one, we're going to be stuck with the absolute maximum amount of time this is going to take to do. It will be a grind. It's supposed to be. People seem to be put off by that, like it's a negative. It's not. It's supposed to be a grind. It's supposed to keep you interested. It's part of the game. It's a decent one as well. Getting those final upgrades is a really satisfying experience. But Jesus fucking Christ, do they get expensive? So I hope that helps you out. I hope you're not too bogged down. I really don't want to see in the comment section is loads of people trying to type out like tables and stuff of what it is right now, because it honestly doesn't matter. Can you think of one thing that alters between now and live that's going to help out? It won't do. Don't get so bogged down in this minutia. It's basically the system is what you need to understand, is getting these research missions started. They're going to call class hall resources. They have like, you can do 2 at a time. That's what you need to be interested in. They start at 110. As soon as you hit 110, get them started, get them ticking. That's all you really need to worry yourself with. What the final numbers are what the final numbers are going to be. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that helps you out. Bye-bye.